Greetings, clobbers. Welcome to Clobby'S Comics Con Spinnerack Time Machine. April, week 2, 1972. Quick Bits, the video that is just the follow-up video to my initial run to the 1972 comic shop to pick up my pull list. 50 years to the week of the comics I would have chosen if I could be back there at that wonderful time of the comics industry. For those who are not familiar with the video, that's these videos, the Spinnerack Time Machine videos here on Clobber Times. That is what they are. Basically, I take my little Spinnerack, it's my TARDIS in the shape of a Spinnerack, of course, it's 70s Spinnerack. It is at my comic shop. I owned one and ran several others in the 80s, but this, of course, we're going back 50 years to the week to 1972. Of course, through the extraordinary source, Mike's Amazing World website, which is amazing for researching comics and stuff, I choose anywhere from 8 to 10 titles that I would have had on my folder list and show you those. That's in my, of course, previous video that this is a follow-up to. And on the second video, I call it Quick Bits because I just quickly go through some of the ones that I did not choose but also came out that week, showing a little bit of love. Just because I didn't buy them, who knows? Maybe you would have. Maybe you would have picked those. So that's basically what I do here with those videos. Of course, also please check out the channel if you are new here and like and subscribe. I hope you will anyway. Monday nights, I talk comics on my Monday Night Mark C Comics Talk show. All these are 9 p.m. Central Standard Time usually. And that is, of course, Wednesday nights, Geek Out with just you and me usually, or sometimes a topic, sometimes not. Geeks and Nerd Talk abounds on Thursday nights in Clobby'S Clubhouse with my wonderful friends Raquel and Mark. And then on Saturday nights, my wonderful first officer, R.M. Briggs, and I we are in the midst of reviewing all of real Star Trek 66 through 05. And we're now in the 6th season of TNG, but we're going to review every single Star Trek episode and film of real Star Trek. Of course, only real Trek. And anyway, but today's video, let's take a little bit of a look first at some of the ones. Well, this is where we're standing right now. Some of the ones we got away. We'll get to the ones, but I'll show you the comics that I've chosen so far quite quickly. The ones I actually chose off the rack myself for my pull list in week 1 and week 2. One of those was it? Oops. That was the spectacular week 1 of April, 1972. Now on to week 2, which is the video from yesterday. So I'll show those quickly. Quite a week. And now on to the Quick Bits video, which is me just basically showing you just a few of the ones. Again, that's why I call it Quick Bits. I want to do this to make it a far quicker video than the day before. Just show you some of the ones that I did not pick. Didn't make the cut, but I want to show them some respect because maybe there's some series that you would have purchased. So let's take a look here on Mike's Amazing World. As always, let's see some of the ones that I did not choose. Of course, that week, and again, not really comics. Well, yeah, they're comics, but not on the spinner rack. Of course, Creepy magazine, but show some love to the Warren magazines because I do have every respect for those. So there were a lot of Warren fans out there. I'd flip them on the stands back then. I would look at them, but I never bought too many of the Warren magazines. I bought Famous Monsters, of course, but that's different. I didn't buy this issue, which looks like it has an article on frogs. Remember that movie? Wow. But I did not buy it. But there it is, Famous Monsters, which I did buy often, but not quite then. Here's one, I almost wish I'd put on my list yesterday, just for the fun of it. But I don't get many of these Hanna-Barbera Media tie-in comics. But look at that, Harlem Globetrotters. I loved the Globetrotters back then. I even got to see them live way back when in the 70s. Yes, I'm old, but I love me some Globetrotters. So that's a cool title. I probably should have picked that one up for old time's sake. I also did not pick up this one, House of Secrets, but we should give it some love, not just because it's one of those DC horror books, but to be fair, I didn't buy a lot of the DC horror books back then either. Probably looks like I think it was a bunch of reprint stories because they were doing a lot of that, but it has a Mike Kaluta cover, and Kaluta was just a terrific artist, so I love him, and there you go. And then there was Little Lulu. There was Richie Rich Fortunes, Tom and Jerry. A little shout out to Tom and Jerry because I used to love the cartoon. Again, not a comic I would buy back then, but I would watch the cartoon all day long. Mickey Mouse and Goofy, the Beagle Boys. Remember them? Of course, here's some titles. I bought all these here that you're seeing. Hanna-Barbera Parade I did not buy. A couple more I did here from the Marvel books, Pebbles and Bam Bam. And of course, I stopped right here. So that's as far as we'll go for this video. But yes, it's Pebbles and Bam Bam. Again, I watched the cartoon back then, that's for sure. I just didn't, and that's of course by Charlton. And I'm always amazed at these TV tie-in comics back then, from whether they were from Disney or Hanna-Barbera or Warner or whatever. So from Charlton and Gold Key and Harvey and Archie comics and all these. Again, they were huge back then, no question about it. But anyway, a little bit of love more to the great art of Mike Kaluta on this DC House of Secrets comic. And then we'll get out of here because, again, they're supposed to be shorter videos, and that's what they're for. So, again, Mike's Amazing World is a link in my description below to this amazing site, which is great for reviewing, researching comics. If you've not seen it before, I recommend it highly. And, of course, there are also links in my description below, not only to many great YouTubers, but, of course, to my other playlists, such as Spinner Rack Time Machine playlists and such. So thank you all so much for being here today, my good friends. And we will see you next week for week 372. April 72, I should say. Clobby'S Comics Corner, Spinner Rack Time Machine. As always, shout out and thanks to my wonderful first officer, Raquel Briggs, for this wonderful outro she made for me. And please go check out her wonderful works of science fiction. I will show you where they are visually. Have a great, great rest of your week. And clobber on, clobberers.